What is going on, everybody? I am the FDGURU, bringing to you guys a Monday edition of my DFS podcast. We have 8 games on the main slate today for MLB. 2 games in the early wave at 6:40 Eastern, and 4 games in the after-hours slate at 8:10 Eastern. We'll be playing all 3 slates. As usual, the early and after-hours slates will be on my Dub Club. You can sign up with the link below. You get a free week trial. Then the main slate on my usual FD-GURU.com website. Coming off of a pretty solid weekend overall, we cashed UFC, did a 2-home-run parlay giveaway on Saturday for Manny Machado and Marcell Ozuna, and that cashed. We had a guy win $200 because of that. I gave it away. Almost took down the late slate yesterday off of my Dub Club. A lot of people sent me some slips. That FanDuel lineup smash. So starting to, make some nice profit days. Overall, the season's been pretty lackluster, but if we can continue what we've been doing the past few weeks throughout August and head into the NFL season with our current form, we're going to be in really, really good shape. So let's get after it today. It's a weird slate, but I'll talk about pitchers. I'll talk about a couple infield value plays and a couple outfield value plays, as I usually do. Give this video a like. That's all I ask, and I do support you guys. I appreciate the support you give me every day when I do these videos. So for pitcher, it might have to be celebrated as an MLB holiday every 5 days when Paul Skeens takes the mound, because this guy is something else. It's not the best spot at Houston on the road against the Astros, but at the same time, it is Paul Skeens. Is short-lived as his MLB career has been so far, he's already basically matchup proof. I don't really care that he's playing the Astros. He is a minus 130 favorite, 7.5 over-under. He's projected for 40 fantasy points, by far the most fantasy points over any other pitcher tonight. He is 11,500, which is, a crazy high price. If you can find a lot of cheap guys you feel comfortable with, go right ahead and go with Paul Skeens. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but there's really only a few pitchers you should be looking at tonight. It's Paul Skeens if you want to spend up, if you want to get into the middle to high tier. The next guy, probably Nick Pivetta. He's been all over the place this year. Pavetta's probably going to be my GPP guy tonight because he's at home. The Mariners, one of the highest strikeout rates in the MLB. And Pivetta has just been the epitome of a GPP pitcher this year. He's had unbelievable games, and he's had really bad games too. Kind of all over the map. Last game got absolutely shelled. He was at Coors Field, but still, 10 hits, 7 earned. But then before that, 55, 38, 46. He has like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 starts with double-digit strikeouts. He's got 3 starts on this game log. Actually, okay, so every start is on this game log, March 29th. So he has 3 starts this year with 10 strikeouts. He's got 2 starts this year with 9 strikeouts. He has 3 starts this year with 8 strikeouts. This guy has gotten 8+ strikeouts in almost half of his games pitched. But, there's a lot of games on this game log where he got shelled too. 0, 4, 12, 9. There's been no in between. The guy either gets like 12 or less, or he gets like 35 or more. It's been an absurd roller coaster of a season for Pivetta, which is why, even though he's at home with a matchup against the Mariners, it's going to be pretty hard to trust him in cash games, especially at 9,400. It's not exactly the cheapest price tag, but he does present a really high ceiling tonight, as we've seen in his game log. Has he pitched against the Mariners yet this year? I don't think he has. No. Opening day, 10 strikeouts, 6 innings. So there you go. We know what he's capable of. He could drop a 50 burger at any point in time. He could also get you 10 fantasy points. So just know the risk and reward that you're getting into if you do end up rostering Nick Pivetta. Again, he will probably be on my tournament team. He's a perfect risk, high reward kind of player. And then if you want to go cheap, I do think there's a chance I get him in cash games, depending on how I feel about spending up on my bats. Paul Skeens or probably Alec Marsh in a good spot. 8,200 is cheap. He's projected for 30 fantasy points. At 8,200, if he gets anywhere 24 plus, he's averaging almost 25 on the year. The matchup's fantastic against the White Sox. The Royals, great team to stack tonight, not only for the bats, but with Alec Marsh as well on the mound. Minus 170 favorites on the road, 9 over under. Marsh, good chance to get the win in this game. Kind of like Nick Pivetta. He's been all over the place too. Pavetta's got a 4.5 ERA. Marsh has a 4.75. When he has his good games, he goes off. He can get a 40-plus fantasy point game. He can also get lit for, single-digit fantasy points. So the matchup for Pivetta and Alec Marsh make them good plays tonight because, you have the Mariners and you have the White Sox, two pretty bad offensive teams. I do like Alec Marsh a little bit more than Pivetta, though, at $1,200 cheaper, and he's projected for almost the same amount of fantasy points, and his upside is almost as good as Pivetta. Obviously, the best upside on tonight's slate is Paul Skeens, but he's 11,500. So the trio of pitchers I'm looking at tonight, Paul Skeens, Nick Pivetta, and Alec Marsh. I don't really like any of the really cheap guys. It's just fucking Kenny Powers down here at 5,500. Take a look at this guy. We got Kenny Powers on the Braves. I can't believe he's still pitching. I've never seen who that is in my entire life. Grant Holmes, he's probably a bullpen guy. Can't imagine he pitches. Yeah. Oh, God, he couldn't look any more like Kenny Powers. That's hilarious. But Paul Skeens, Nick Pivetta, and Alec Marsh at pitcher. We'll just put Paul Skeens here, whatever. For the infield, we're going to look at two Royals. I think Salvador Perez is too cheap at $3K with this matchup against Chris Flexen. Flexen, not good. I've been picking on him all year. I've been picking on the White Sox all year. 2-10 record, 5.25 ERA. Royals are projected for the most runs on this slate. The one rain game we have to keep an eye out on today is the Reds and the Cubs. Looks like the highest risk for a problem with the weather. That has a 9.5 over-under, so that's got the highest over-under on the slate. We'll go back to the radar news closer to lock and see if we can roster anyone in that game. But the Royals are right there, too. They should be able to score. Perez at 3K is great. He's having a decent year. He was batting like well over 300. He's been slumping as of late. 275 average, 70 RBIs. And if you're picking Perez, it's a good idea to spend up on Bobby Witt. My favorite spend up on the slate. It will be tough to get Bobby Witt and Paul Skeens in your lineups tonight. So if you're rolling out like a Alec Marsh or Nick Pivetta, you can definitely get Bobby Witt in there. Depending on the cheap bats, if a lot of cheap bats develop towards, the confirmed lineups coming out, then, it could be possible to do Skeens and Bobby Witt. But I like Bobby Witt a bunch tonight. One of the best players in the MLB, 341 averages. Not much to say here. He was $4,700 just a couple of days ago. He's down to $4,300. And this guy doesn't look like he's going to cool down anytime soon. So, love Bobby Witt tonight. Love the Royals. Best team to stack, in my opinion. For the outfield, we're going to go a little cheaper. And I'm going to scroll a little bit here because I honestly forget who I had. Think it was one of the guys was Lane Thomas, 3,200 for a dynamic fantasy player like Lane Thomas, batting second most likely tonight against the lefty Jordan Montgomery. 3,200 is going to look like a good price on him. Not exactly a power hitter, but he does hit doubles, he gets on base, and he steals bases. Stolen bases are very valuable in DFS. He has 6 stolen bases in the last, 8 or 9 games, so Lane Thomas, when he gets on, he's a threat to steal every single time, and that's a nice cheap price on him. Montgomery's been awful for his new team in Arizona this year. 6.11 ERA. This game has a 9 over-under too, so Vegas expects both Mitchell Parker and Montgomery, the two southpaws, to give up some action tonight. So Lane Thomas, not a bad play. He's not like a must play, but if you wanted to go the Nationals route, Lane Thomas looks pretty good. And then for cheap, I do like the Twins tonight against Jose Quintana at Citi Field. Manuel Margot most likely leading off at only 2,400. Every time there's a lefty on the mound, Margot usually hits one or two in the order, and he is good against lefties. I have picked him before. He played yesterday, went 3 for 5. Anytime you can get a guy in the top of the lineup with a righty-lefty matchup, for a price under $2,500, he's always going to grade out as a nice value play. We have a 8.5 over/under in this game at Citi Field. It's basically a pick'em. Twins should be able to score some runs. Depending on what your salary is looking like, you could look at Royce Lewis, you could look at Byron Buxton, Willie Castro, Jose Miranda. All these righties in the Twins lineup look pretty good against the lefty Jose Quintana. That'll do it for this video, guys. Let's have a great start to the week, and let's do something special tonight. Thanks for stopping by. I am the FD Guru. Peace.